please bring that offer back. I'll explain what happened and then get into the latest home prices and insights for York Region for week ending June 11th, 2025. About 2 months ago, with a buyer client, we put an offer on a home. We went back and forth a little bit with the seller, negotiating. We couldn't put it together. We moved on. So it's 2 months later. The listing agent calls me and says, Santo, we couldn't put the offer together back then, but the seller is now open to re-looking at your offer. Would you mind submitting your offer again? And I said, you know what? That's great, except for the fact we've already purchased. We moved on. It was 2 months ago. We moved on, looked at other properties, and purchased something else. If I had to pick, when this year is said and done, if I had to pick a theme or a tagline for the year, it may well be, I wish I would have taken that other offer. There are lots of sellers in this position today. Look, I'm not coming down on sellers. I am trying to do everything I can to explain to sellers what to expect in this market. That's what I do with the sellers I work with. That's what I'm doing here now on this channel. If you choose to sell, you're on the market. Let's be realistic about this. The successful sale of your property probably is the single most important thing that affects everything else going on in your life, that affects your next step, that affects absolutely everything for most of us. If you go onto the market, you may have all these awesome plans, but it all starts with the sale of your home, whatever your plans may be. And there's way too many sellers that are on the market and then totally shocked of their actual experience. And I don't mean shocked in a good way. They're shocked in bad ways of really not knowing what to expect or experiencing the opposite of what they thought they were going to experience. And it's not just price, it's everything else revolved around the whole selling process. And it can be avoidable. We do know what's happening out there. We do have experience with what we see. And as a seller, you should be told that. You should know what to expect. Too many sellers today are wishing they would have accepted the offer they turned down. As a seller, you need to know upfront what a realistic price is so you can make the right decisions. Now, let's get into the numbers. Folks, at the end of this video, there'll be a link on the screen. Click on that and check out this modern log home. It's located the other side of Lake Simcoe. Check it out. Now, let's get into the data for York Region. Specifically, we're looking at detached properties for Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham. I have on the board here 3 months of average sold prices, week ending June the 4th to June 11th for Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham. Average sold price for each of those regions came down. Let's take a closer look. We're going to start off with Vaughan. Again, for week ending June 11th, 26 detached properties were sold. 5 of those sold at $2 million or more. You know, I like to pick out trend. Like, that's my whole thing, trying to tell you prices are trending up or sales are trending down, whatever the case may be. It's really difficult to say that sales are trending up or down. They kind of seem overall average in the mid-20s somewhere. For this week, 26 were sold. Those are the sales for Vaughan. Only for detached properties. Average sold price overall since the beginning of April, average sold prices seem to be trending down. For sure, we have our peaks and valleys, but overall trending down. For week ending June 11th, average sold price for all detached homes sold in Vaughan is $1,605,000. 1605 related to, compared to the same week last year, 1605 is 11% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is $1,420,000. The dotted line is a 4-week moving average, just a different way of looking at data. And sometimes the dotted line helps to, it kind of smoothens out the peaks and valleys and may at times make it easier to spot a trend, excuse me. The dotted line for both average price and median price trending downwards. 26 were sold, 4 of those, or 15%, sold at list price or more. 103 were listed. There are 657 available detached properties for sale, and those are the active listings. That's trending up. So there's more and more properties as each week goes by, more and more properties overall available for sale. So more are coming on, not being sold, and staying on the market than in most cases the previous week. Months of inventory has jumped up to 5.8 months of inventory. Richmond Hill. Now, I'm having a hard time in picking out numbers for Richmond Hill or picking out trends just because sales are so low. For this week, week ending June 11th, 10 detached properties were sold. So I put 39,000 plus up there. 39,000 represents the amount of detached properties in Richmond Hill. There are more than 39,000, and for this week, week ending June 11th, only 10 sold. Not 39,000 for sale. Let's not confuse that. There are in total 39,000 detached properties. Of the ones that are for sale, only 10 of those sold. 2 of those sold at $2 million or more. But since there's only 10, how accurate can the average pricing be? It's a sampling of only 10. And this is why I struggle with putting up the data and talking about it for Richmond Hill. If we base it on the current average sold price of $1,711,000, it's 17% lower than where we were this time a year ago. Median price is $1,565,000. Of the 10 that sold, 4 of them, so 40%. When you look at 40%, it's like, wow, 40%, that's a lot. It's only 4. 4 of the 10 sold at list price or more. 84 were listed. Active listings is climbing. And months of inventory, like I'm not even adjusting the months of inventory for these high numbers because the balanced section would be like right down here. So I'm just putting it up top. It's a crazy, ridiculous 13.7 months of inventory at the current rate of only selling 10 a week. Markham, 28 detached properties were sold. 3 of those sold at $2 million or more. Our sales starting to trend down. They kind of seemed like they were going up and then they were down. Also, really difficult to spot a trend of sales for Markham. Average sold price is $1,666,000. And we have these valleys. For a while, we were saying average sold price is trending down. And then way up here. And now we're at $1,666,000. And when we go right back to the beginning of the year, 1,666 kind of seems middle of the road, doesn't it? So overall, maybe average prices haven't changed that much, but different times of the year so far, different parts of the month, up and down. 1,666 is 7% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price of $1,550,000 is 11% lower. 28 were sold. 9 of those, So 32% sold at list price or more. Listings are picking up again. 103 detached properties were listed. So active listings is climbing. We're at 508 active detached properties available for sale, and months of inventory sitting at 4.2 months of inventory. Pretty much a balanced market when we're looking at Markham. Here's a summary. 5.8 months of inventory for Vaughan. Richmond Hill, way up there, 13.7. And Markham sitting at 4.2 months of inventory. In most cases, you're going to experience either a balanced market or a buyer's market, but it is very neighborhood specific. So you really want to understand what's happening. But overall, when we look at the beginning of the year versus where we are today, prices are much softer. Prices overall have been trending down in absolutely most neighborhoods. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.